you know the name Adol Kristen? From when he was young, and all the way to the final days of his life, he hungered for adventure. He threw caution to the wind, and spent every moment searching for a new quest. The story I'll tell you now is just one of over 100 of his tales, now recorded for future generations to remember. Scholars have titled this account the Felghana Archives. The breeze from Siena Bay washed over us, carrying the salty scent of the sea. The sights, sounds, and smells filled us with wonder, rejuvenating our weary hearts. It was 3 years after I first set out. I was only 19. My partner, Dogi, a former bandit, traveled with me. He once saved my life, and we've been friends ever since. He and I were kindred spirits, having already journeyed together for around 2 years. 3 months earlier, we heard from a caravan of traveling merchants that a certain region was being ravaged by a calamity. Apparently, through a combination of strange weather and afflictions of unknown cause, production of crops there had reached an all-time low. Even worse, rumors told of unreasonable actions being taken by the land's oppressive lord. It wasn't until that night that Dogi finally came to me and shared what was on his mind. He revealed to me he had been born and raised in the region mentioned in the rumors, Felghana, in a small town called Redmont, and that after leaving Redmont to see the world 8 years prior, he had never once returned to visit. Before he could continue further, I stopped him. Without another word, I nodded my consent. In that moment, our next destination became clear. After staring at Siena Bay for a little while longer, we started walking down the coast toward the harbor. Close to noon, we crossed paths with a small group of covered wagons, breaking the day's silence. They were a nomadic people who were mainly renowned for their methods of highly accurate divination. It was Dogi's idea to ask them about the source behind Felghana's calamity. The fortune teller gazed into her crystal ball and began to focus. As if overpowered by a terrible vision within, the crystal ball shattered to pieces, and the fortune teller lost consciousness and collapsed. It took little time for her to awaken, but even after receiving treatment, she wouldn't say a thing about what she had witnessed. That sight must not be put into words, lest it bring forth a cataclysm beyond imagining. Her companion spoke for her, vehemently stressing to us a single point, that we should stay out of Felghana. But I shook my head. No matter what troubles may have awaited us, I had no intention of giving up on our journey now. My resolve put a smile on Dogi's face. Together, we renewed our determination. The next morning, we chartered a small boat and set off. By dusk, we found ourselves approaching the shores of Felghana. Then, I had a premonition of my own. It wasn't all at once, but a slow realization that grew and grew the closer we crept to the shore. Something sinister awaited us in Felghana, and the more I stared, the more threatening that new frontier seemed. Dogi alerted me that we were just about to disembark, and continued to row faster. I shook off my apprehension and forced myself to match Dogi's enthusiastic rowing pace. It was at this point that our new adventure began.